first conversion, actually, with a faith conversion, what I could point to would be when God put that beautiful young lady in my life over there. At that time, we were in our early mid-20s, and my faith was pretty dormant at that time. I was a believer, but I wasn't attending regular Mass or participating in sacramental life at all. And she started dragging me to Mass on Sundays. And that was the start of God working on me through her. And He's still continuing to do that. But we got married, started having children, and I started to work down at the Chicago Board of Trade. I started as a runner down there making minimum wage, and I started to go through the ranks down there, and pretty soon, it took about 5 years before I was actually found myself in the midst of a trading career as an independent trader, and doing remarkably well right from the start. By doing remarkably well, making more money than I ever thought possible, making the type of money that I was dreaming of making. And this was going on for a few years. It was actually a 13-year trading career, 18 years altogether down there. And the first 11 were pretty good. First 11 were pretty good. We were living a very nice life. We had 4 beautiful children. We had a beautiful home, all the nice things that you'd want. Season tickets to the Chicago Bulls, saw Michael Jordan the whole 10-year run there. Member at a country club, playing golf on the weekends. In-laws had a place in Wisconsin. So really, things were a lot of fun, and life was very good. Then all of a sudden, in that about the 11th year of that trading career, at the end of the 12th year, it was like I hit a brick wall. And at this time, I was going to daily Mass and communion. I started that, it was early in the trading career, not right away, but I went to Mass every day for Lent one year, and then when Lent was over, I wanted to do it, but I just got kind of lazy, so I stopped doing it. And I felt like something was missing. After a couple of months of not going, I couldn't figure out what it was. And then, all of a sudden I said, I think it might have been the fact I'm missing Mass, I'm missing the Eucharist, the bread of life. And I started to make that a part of my regular day. And I've been doing it ever since. That was like around 1989. And if I miss it nowadays, it's like I really feel like something's missing. It's a very important part of my day. And so I was, like I say, regular Mass attendance of communion. And all of a sudden I hit this brick wall at the Board of Trade. And went from making a lot of money to losing a lot of money. Not making money at all, losing money, frustration, anger, stomach aches, migraine headaches. It was little by little, this is what was happening. And one morning at St. Peter's downtown, I was kneeling down saying some prayers, and that at the time was my consolations in life, was my faith life, my prayer life, and my family, my wife and children. That's what kept me going. That's what kept me excited about life, even during the difficult times. And I saw this prayer in the pew in front of me, and I picked it up. It was a card just like this. And I read the bottom of the prayer first. And it says, "Say this prayer faithfully, no matter how you feel. When you come to the point when you sincerely mean each word with all your heart, Jesus will change your whole life in a very special way. You will see." So I thought, great. I'll start saying this prayer every day, and I'll mean every single word, and I'll start making money again. And I thought this was the ticket. Okay, so I started saying this prayer every day. I got this prayer card, and right after communion, on my way back, this is the prayer that I would say. It's called the miracle prayer. So while I was saying these words, I would say, okay, I'm going to mean each one of these words. I'm going to do what this prayer says. Well, I was faithful with that, and Jesus did change my life in a very special way. But I didn't start to make money again. I couldn't figure out, why am I not making money? Why am I not getting back into the swing of things? I know how to do this. The next thing you know, I'm working at St. Patrick High School as a school counselor, making about 1/10 of the money that I was making when things were rolling down at the Board of Trade. And the odd thing was, happier than I had ever been. Happier than I'd ever been. And a lot of things had to happen for that to become possible. We just spoke about one of the men that we know here. His name is Dr. Joe Schmidt, who's the principal at St. Pat's, who actually coached me at one point in time. He was always a mentor for me and a friend to me, and he approached me with this opportunity. And at first I said, "Come on, Joe, I know what you people are making. Are you serious? I got 4 kids, they're all in Catholic grammar schools, I got Catholic high schools coming up." And he said, well, he gave me another little way to look at it. And the key to the whole thing was that my wife had started to work there the year before. Because he knew that we were struggling a little bit, so he actually, there was a job opening for a receptionist. He said, would Colleen want to be interested in it? And she took the job on, and it helped a lot. We were able to save insurance money and a lot of other ways too. But she caught the spirit of the school in that 1 year. And a year later, when he asked me about the job, I thought, man, I'd love it, but I'm sure Colleen's not going to go for this. But then when we talked about it, she said, let's go, let's do it. So the Holy Spirit was working right there. The Holy Spirit was working. I found myself with young people, because I've always been attracted to being around young people, in a school that I loved. I was a graduate of that school, and I never really left. And people that I love to be around. And it was a wonderful situation. And that's been 12 years now, and I really haven't taken a smile off my face since I made that career change and started that job. I am excited to go to work every day. When there's other things going on at night, I'm excited to get back there for that. So that's the Lord. I know that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be with that. Another example I have about faith. Back a few years ago, I also take another one of the great things at this parish that I take advantage of is the 24-hour adoration chapel. And I was in there saying some prayers, and I grabbed a little yellow booklet. It was called Novena to the Holy Spirit. And I started doing the novena. It's a 9-day perpetual novena. So I started this novena. This is back maybe three years ago or more. And what that novena was teaching me, because I had never really prayed to the Holy Spirit before. I always had God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit mixed up. I could never really put it together. But I started this novena praying to the Holy Spirit. And this book that was helping me do that. And it was teaching me how to listen to the Holy Spirit. To be able to recognize when the Holy Spirit is actually trying to work in your life. And to be able to have the courage to act on it. And that's what this novena was doing for me. So one day in my job, I get opportunities all the time to talk to kids about prayer and faith and important things like that. Things that really matter, things that are kind of getting lost in the shuffle with our young people. And I get to do that almost every day. But this one particular day, there was a student that wrote an essay. He was getting ready to go to college. And my job at St. Pat's, I'm the Director of Student Services, which is the counseling department. I'm also the college counselor. This young man wrote an essay about his feelings that he's having about becoming a priest. And that was the first time I had seen that, and I hadn't known anyone at St. Pat's who had any thoughts about the priesthood. So I was very intrigued by the letter. I said, I got to call this young man down and meet him. And before I did, I try to do this before I meet with students, and I'll just say a little prayer to the Holy Spirit. And it'll be just something short, simple, and very ordinary. It's Holy Spirit, without you I can do nothing. Help me to keep you at the center of this interaction. And like I say, it was very ordinary. It was nothing, there was no sparklers or anything like that, but in my conversation with him, I did a lot of listening, but I also really affirmed in him these feelings that he was having. And I think through my faith, able to encourage him to dig a little deeper, gave him a number of a priest that was in charge of vocations at the seminary of Loyola University, St. Joseph College Seminary. And he started to pursue this, and right now he's in his second year at the seminary. And there are 22 young men in there, 22 young men from this area that are studying to be archdiocesan priests. 2 of them are from St. Pat's. So the Holy Spirit is alive and well. You got a little bit of Emmett McGovern tonight. You know, I'm very grateful for my faith. I'm grateful for my loved ones who came to support me, and some friends. If you have any questions. I've got a couple of things. I got that Secrets to the Rosary book up there. If you'd like one, take one, please. I've got a lot of rosary rings that, if you'd like one, take one of those. And I've also got this prayer card, the miracle prayer, that I'd love to share with anybody that wants. It's powerful, I'm telling you.
Could you tell us a little bit about your basketball, what you do at St. Pat's too?
Sure. Well, I'm a college counselor, so I work with kids to try to find them their right niche and as to what they want to do after they're done with St. Pat's. And we have kids from all kinds of academic levels, so there's a wide gamut there. And I also coach basketball there, which brings me a lot of joy as well. Being able to do basketball has been a part of my life since I played basketball at St. Pat's. I think I'm doing what I've been meant to do. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Well, I got 2 daughters that they kind of followed the education path, work with handicapped kids, whatever. And I get kind of angry because I could barely make it financially. And do I have the wrong attitude to go after the money, go after something you really want to do?
You know, I understand what you're saying, and I think that's kind of the trap that our society has a lot of us are in that type of mindset there. I learned a tough lesson with that. I've learned that when I was making all that money and doing those nice things, believe me, I was happy then too. I mean, if I was making all that money and never stopped making money, I'd still be down there. But I think God had a different plan for me, and I think that's part of it. And I learned through that when I gave up a lot of nice things that were things, I found myself happier than I ever was. So, you know, I have a daughter that's here right now that's teaching at a Catholic grade school who I'm very proud of, and she's got a few aunts and other people in the family saying, yeah, you got to get into public school, you got to make more money, you know, this. And I tell her, no, you don't, Eileen. What you're doing with these little second graders, forming them in ways of God, teaching them the faith and teaching them about the Eucharist, is more important than making an extra $10,000 or whatever. So I would encourage you to affirm in your kids if they're joyful in what they're doing. That's the important thing.